Hello everyone and welcome back to another math video. Today we're going to be looking at how do you write an equation for a parallel or perpendicular line. Similar to this problem that you see up on the screen, they give you some info and they want you to write an equation. Just a reminder, this is the short version of this lesson, so we're going to go pretty quickly through the main points. If you'd like the full length lesson where we go step by step with a bunch of examples, I will link that in the description below. Before attempting this lesson, you should already be familiar with parallel and perpendicular slopes. You should know about how to find slopes and intercepts from equations, and you should know how to write equations using point slope. If you want refreshers on any of these, I will link those in the description as well. So here's our problem. It says the equation of line C is y equals 1/8 x plus 10. So line C, and we should be able to look at that and say, oh, okay, we're already familiar with slope-intercept, hopefully. We should be able to look at that and say, okay, the slope is 1/8. All right, and then they tell us line D, let me space that out a little bit more, line D is perpendicular. Okay, so we know that they are perpendicular to each other. We're going to use that info in a second. And passes through, they give us a point, -1, 1. And they say, what is the equation of line D? All right, so we're trying to write an equation for line D, and we need a slope. Okay, if we have a slope and a point, we can do something. But until we have both of those, we can't do anything. So the way that we get our slope for line D is, remember that we should already know that, okay, if they are perpendicular to each other, that means that we can flip it an opposite, right? We can negative reciprocal. And so the slope for line D is going to be -8. And so now we can use point slope and we can plug in our numbers. So we have y minus 1 equals -8 x minus -1. And now we just solve because we want to put it in slope-intercept. This becomes +1. Now we distribute the -8 and we get this. And now we add 1 on both sides to get our final answer of y equals -8x minus 7. And we are done. Now for this problem, the only difference here is, first off, they're going to be parallel. Okay, so that's a difference. And secondly, what they gave us for line U is not in slope-intercept form, right? It's in point-slope form. So we should be able to look at that and say, oh, okay, the slope is the number in front of the parentheses, so therefore the slope is -4/5. If you were not sure about point slope, what you could have done is you could have solved this for y. I'm going to do that right now. And you can see that once you put it, you solve for the y, you put it in slope-intercept form, you get the same slope, right? -4/5. All right, and now for line V, we know that they are parallel, right? So parallel means that the slopes are exactly the same. So now we have a slope for line V. They told us it has to go through 7, -6. We have a point, we have a slope, so now we can do something. We can plug it in. So we're going to do y minus -6 equals -4/5 x minus 7. And solve. Let's go ahead and distribute while we're here. Plus 20/5, not 20/5, sorry. 28/5. And now we add 6 on both sides. And we end up with, let's see, 28/5 minus 6 gives me -2/5. And here's our final answer. For this last type of problem, okay, we've got line V, we've got line W. They tell us they are perpendicular. And we start with this. And this is, if you know standard form, this is standard form, but this is not point slope, this is not slope-intercept, so we need to solve this for the y. So the way we do that is we need to move the 2x to the other side. And now we have -3y equals 9 minus 2x. And lastly, we need to divide by this -3, divide everything by the -3. And we end up with y equals -3 plus 2/3 x. And now that we're here, we can say, okay, the slope is 2/3. And these are perpendicular lines, so that means they have to have negative reciprocal slopes. And so we know this slope will be -3/2. And we know the point is 2, 2. And now we plug in and solve. We distribute first. This gives us +3, +2 on both sides. Okay, let's clean that up. And we get y equals -3/2x + 5, final answer. All right, here's our cool clock for today, which means that it's time for you to practice what you just learned. Go ahead and pause the video and try these 3 problems on your own. And when you're ready, you can unpause the video and we'll check your answers. Okay, now that you've had time to work these problems, let's check your solutions. For the first problem, here is the work, and you should have ended up with y equals 5/7 x minus 4/7. For the second problem, here is the work. You should have ended up with y equals -3/4 x minus 7/2. And for the last problem, here is the work, and you should have ended up with y equals -1x minus 3, or just y equals -x minus 3. All right, that is it for today. I hope you all have a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.